We're going to jump into the tune-up and just check everything out, make sure it's all running properly and running safe for them. So on this specific system, we're going to do what we call a combustion test. This is essentially checking the fuel and oxygen mixture that the system is making while it's creating combustion. So combustion analysis is super important because, it tells us how the system is running on an efficiency standpoint, but also a safety perspective as well. We want to make sure the system is running safely for our customer and his family and his home. This is called a manometer. So the static pressure in the system, it's kind of like blood pressure. It tells us a lot on how the system's operating. High static pressure can lead to things like premature wear, premature failures on things like heat exchangers, blower motors. We're going to check static pressure and temperature there. So you got red, yellow, green. So red meaning now it's failed. It's either a safety concern or it's like it's on its way out. The yellow, fair, means, hey, this is going to be a potential issue in the near future. And then green means good. Everything checks out. Everything's good to go. So this is a mandatory thing we do on all of our maintenance calls to make sure your system's running, efficiently, properly, and safely. As it's running, I might as well do my checks, power it down, shut it off. So what I like to start off by doing is taking off the burner assembly door, doing a visual inspection, seeing if there's any, signs of corrosion, which we can see. Definitely pretty dirty, so we're going to vacuum that up. It's from 2008, so it's got a little bit of life, but we want to make sure this thing is running properly and safely for them. So we're going to start off by inspecting and cleaning that flame sensor. Easy to clean it. I just use a worn down piece of sandpaper. So I'm checking the igniter now. Without the igniter, you don't have any heat. If that igniter has too high of resistance, it may still be working, but it can tell us, hey, I'm on my way out. We would recommend replacement to prevent a breakdown. I also like to do a visual inspection. That is what the igniter looks like on this specific furnace. So in this scenario, what I would put this down as a yellow. Chances are this is original. I'd put it in the yellow, letting the customer know, hey, it's original. This is called the limit switch. What I'm going to do now is a safety inspection on the furnace. Checking the heat exchanger is the most important thing when it comes to a tune-up. So we use this inspection camera. We put it inside the heat exchanger. If there's any cracks, holes, that is a major safety concern. Now you can see we're in the heat exchanger. Those little circles, we call them eyelets. That's a very common place where they crack. So at the end of the day, we want to give everybody their options. And in this scenario, he chose to replace the heat exchanger. That tells me that this heat exchanger is working properly and safely. A capacitor is one of the most common replacement parts on these systems. What a capacitor is kind of like a battery for these motors. Once it gets out of the manufacturer's tolerance, it can lead to causing a motor not to kick on, not to start up. So this is hands down probably the number one replacement wear and tear part we replace on these systems. One of the things on a high efficiency furnace that you have is a condensate trap. It's super important to clean this. When it comes to a tune-up, the main focus is checking each and every component, especially the heat exchanger, and making sure it's safe, it's running properly. Cleaning is just kind of the cherry on top. It's not the main focus. The humidifier has a filter inside. Aprilaire, the brand we work with, they recommend replacing that filter once a year. Humidifiers, they're very, very nice to have. You just have to keep up with the maintenance. We are going to vacuum out the system, get all the loose debris out of there, and then I'll follow that up with a brief spray and wipe down with just some general everyday cleaner, nothing crazy. We just finished up the tune-up over here. I'm going to fill out the notes now, send over pictures, details, everything over to the customer. If you guys like this type of content, please feel free to drop a follow.